Welcome to the Coach Toolbox. I'm your host, Dr. Ajay Nangalia, a leadership coach and counselor. This channel supports your professional and personal development as a leader with research-based and practice-focused learning. And we bring you the best career and life advice from guests who've been there and done that successfully. And now, our session today. Today, let's talk about some of the things that we are really afraid of. Let's talk about learning to deal with our fears. Now, each one of us has our own set of fears or things that we are afraid of. Most times, some of these fears are known to us. For example, we may be afraid of speaking to large groups or speaking up in meetings or in social situations or parties. And there may be many fears that impact us, but which are at a subconscious level. So we are not even aware of them. And some of these fears could be the fear of looking foolish or fear of being vulnerable or feeling shame and so on. And when we are fearful about things that are yet in the future, that's typically anxiety and leads to anxiety and stress. So today, let's talk about some strategies that can help us deal with our fears or anxiety in more helpful, adaptive ways. And now, over the last year and a half that we've all struggled with the impact of COVID in our personal and professional lives, so many of our fears and anxieties have been amplified and they've become concentrated given the chronic impact of this virus and the impact that it has had on every aspect of our life. They've really become such an insidious part of our life, and few of us are able to recognize the impact that these fears have on us, and for some of us, the impact is hidden. So in our conversation today, I'd like to share some insights and techniques that have worked for my coaching and counseling clients and for me too, in terms of dealing with these fears and these anxieties. And many times I'm going to, for convenience sake, in our conversation today, talk about both these terms, fears and anxieties, almost as synonyms, though when we are fearing something that is in the future, typically that's anxiety. And I hope that some of these inputs would be very helpful for you also. So, as a starting point, let's understand first and foremost that fear is a natural emotion. It's a natural part of our human existence. It's part of being human. There's nothing bad or shameful in it, or it's not something to get rid of or for us not to have. Most times we learn to move forward with our fear, and not moving forward after overcoming it or having gotten rid of it, but with it. So fear also has advantages. It's a warning sign. It tells us that we need to take some preparatory or corrective action. And it can also be a motivator for us to take actions that otherwise we would not take. So fear does have a helpful and adaptive element to it. So for example, precautions for COVID, because of the fear that we have of catching this virus, we mask, we sanitize, we keep our distance, we are as careful as we are so that we can protect ourselves and our loved ones. There may be a fear of losing job, and so because of that fear, we build some buffers in terms of expenses, finances, we build career resolutions by developing new skills and credentials. And for some of us, the fear of health issues can encourage us to eat healthy and exercise, perhaps get a physical checkup, and so on. So these are examples of times when fear has an adaptive function for us. So the first lesson for us is not to fear fear. It's a normal part of our existence. Let's learn instead to leverage it. So having said that, now the next thing is to understand what is it that you fear? What is it that we fear? Now, some of these things are easier to know. For example, the risk of a job loss or threat to health or life of a loved one or for oneself, or the fear of losing a valuable relationship, or the fear of being alone. Some fears are harder to recognize. These could be deep-rooted, and most times it's harder to figure them out ourselves. These could be around some areas of guilt or shame or fears that are rooted in some trauma or abuse. So
Start with figuring out the easier to know fears by spending time in reflection. Think about them. Some of these easier ones are easier to figure out. Get a diary for yourself and spend some time reflecting in terms of what are the things that you fear. List them down. Spend time thinking exclusively about it. And as you list down these various fears, look at the ones which you can take some action, some corrective action, build some resilience around it. You will find some of them are easier. Some of them perhaps don't look so scary once they are written down on paper, which is why the importance of this action, of this practice of writing some of these things down in a personal diary and not holding up everything in your head. So a lot of these easier to know fears can be worked with at a cognitive or a head level. Once you've written them down, ask yourself, how true is this fear for me? How real is it? What's the worst that can happen? How can I prepare? How can I build some reserves or buffer or resilience? Whom can I talk to get more information about this? So a lot of these, some of these easier ones can be dealt with at a head level, and that's easier. However, the deeper fears are best dealt with when you work with a trained counselor or coach, because many times they can help you identify, and it's only in conversations with them that we are able to figure out these fears, and then we are able to navigate these darker fears in our lives, and then our coach or counselor will be able to support me to deal with these fears in more adaptive ways. So the key lesson to learn is to understand what our fears are. What are we really afraid of? And this is at two levels. There is an easier level and a deeper level. And it's helpful in the deeper level fears to work with a trained counselor or coach to support you. Now, we have already spoken about the fact that some fears have an adaptive function and some can also have a maladaptive function. They are not helpful for us. And in my own life, I have found that my own fear of authority figures and my issues around that have sort of make me very uncomfortable in speaking with authority figures or to speak up in meetings. And fears around shame or guilt, inhibit us from focusing on our own interests, our own self-interest or our self-care. Perhaps we may even sabotage ourselves or shortchange ourselves in relationships and opportunities because of these deep-rooted fears. And at times we are so fearful of sharing these deeper issues that it's easier to isolate ourselves from family and friends or just pretend that everything is okay when we are really struggling within. And this becomes even more critical if we are dealing with fears around some chronic trauma or illness or abuse. And if you're at this point in your life, then I encourage you to reach out to a counselor or a coach to support you. There is no need to deal with this alone. So, thus far in our conversation, we have understood that fear is a normal and natural part of our human experience, and we've spent some time in identifying and exploring what our fears are. Now we come to the next step. Accept them, be okay with them. They are part of who you are. They are part of who we are. Now that's easier said than done, and it's a process. But as I said, one of the things that really aggravates this process is thinking that I must not be afraid, I must be brave, I must be able to do this, or I must move forward once I have dealt with this fear. No, we learn to work with our fears and we learn to work despite our fears. So some processes, some techniques to help us deal with them, to accept them, to be okay with them. There's no easy take one aspirin type of a solution, but I've adapted these easy tips, these easy practices from acceptance commitment therapy, from neuroscience and yoga, and I've found it very helpful for myself and for my clients. So here it is. Here's the first very simple, easy practice when we are feeling particularly anxious or stressed or we are feeling fearful about something. Practice deep exhalations. You don't have to do any fancy pranayama or just learn to practice deep exhalations. Practice deep exhalation. Exhale and count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in your mind till you go to whatever number you go. And then the next exhalation, try and get it a little deeper. Practice it without getting stressed about it. Practice it without thinking whether am I doing this? Is this the right technique? You don't have to worry about that. The moment you're doing that, you're sort of minimizing the effect. Just deep exhalation. Deep exhalation in a calm way. Don't worry about inhalation, because once you exhale, inhalation will happen automatically. So 5 to 7 deep exhalations will immediately start calming your nervous system. And if you make this a part of your lifestyle, that whenever you're about to start something, whenever you're about to start a conversation, or even respond to a critical email, or look at something at different points and times in the day, if you start training your body to start experiencing the benefits of these deep exhalations, 5 to 7 deep exhalations, the body will start learning to recognize that the moment this practice happens, it can calm down. You see, what's happening at a physiological level is with these deep exhalations is that your vagus nerve, you're using your vagus nerve, which controls the breath, to calm your parasympathetic nervous system. And this will ease the intensity of your fear and anxiety to a level where it's easier to look at the following steps or the next steps. Right? So there is a huge amount of science which is now being identified as to how these ancient practices from different traditions, what is the science behind these ancient practices. So very simple, 5 to 7 deep exhalations. Now, as you have learned to start using these deep exhalations to calm yourself, we move to the next practice, which involves some amount of visualization and working with the fear, right? So if you need to pause for a second and just take these 5 to 7 deep exhalations. If you join me back now, think about something that you're fearful about, something that's causing you anxiety. One of the things that we tend to do is we take our fears and anxieties and we push it under the carpet. We try and hide it in the closet. We try and, not think about it, thinking that it will go away. But what happens is the more we try and bury it, the more aggressive it gets, the more angry it gets, the more it comes into our attention space. So don't try and push it under the carpet. Anyway, the moment you're feeling this, you're learning to breathe deeply and to breathe it out. Then as you start practicing this deep exhalations and you're breathing deeply, the next step is to picture the thing that you fear as a cloud. So think of it as a cloud. Whatever it is that you're fearing in your mind's eye, think about it as a cloud. And then as you look at this as a cloud, put your focus on the sky, on the blue sky, and focus on the other clouds which are there. And these other clouds are there, and they are some of the positive things that are happening in your life. There's some of the happy things that are there in your life. And keep your focus on the other clouds. Keep your focus on the vastness of the blue sky. And your fear is there, but it's just one single small cloud in the vastness of the blue sky. And as you take in this picture, as you get comfortable with this picture, you will find that there is some amount of spaciousness that steps in. There is some amount of distance that you are creating between the fear or anxiety and the blue sky. So the cloud is still there, the fear is still there. But what happens is when we focus only on the cloud of our fear, we get completely enveloped by it, and all we see around us is darkness and the cloud. But when we look at this fear in the expanse of the blue sky, then it is there still. Nothing has changed, but the perspective has changed. It is a cloud, it is there, but then our focus is on the blue sky, our focus is there on the other clouds which are there. And you can play with this image. You can see that as these clouds are moving, there's a wind which is coming there and it's moving these clouds along, and your fear cloud is also moving. This visualization is extremely powerful. I draw it from acceptance commitment therapy. And as you adapt this, as you practice this, you will learn that the distance that you create gives you space to operate with a little bit more calmness. The cloud does not go away. You're not trying to get rid of it, but you're drawing energy from the larger sky and from the other white clouds. And this technique gets easier with practice. It will help you move with your fear, despite your fear, and it will help you take in the space that you create between yourself and the fact that this is just a cloud way far away in the blue sky. The space that you now create will help you start thinking about and taking baby steps. You will be now able to get up. It won't hijack you, it won't handicap you, it won't envelop you, because it's out there in the blue sky. Now, as you start applying and adapting these practices to suit you, there will be some things that you fear for which you can start taking adaptive actions. For example, initiating some prudent financial practices, or talking to people about opportunities, or starting a health regimen that works for you. But there will also be some aspects of deeper fears that are harder to deal with and will take some time to come to terms with. Be all right that there will be some fear that is part of who you are. Your unconditional acceptance of this fear might perhaps loosen the grip that it has on you and give you the space within which you can move and take action. Even if it's a very small space, you're still dealing with it in an adaptive way, because remember, we are just looking not for the fear to go away, or we are not looking for mastery over it. We are just looking for a little space in which you can take 1 or 2 baby steps. Now, what happens is, as you apply these ideas, is that the fear center in your brain, the amygdala, learns not to get hyperstimulated and explode at the first sign of the fearful thought or event. You're teaching your brain to not let the fear hijack you. You're letting your brain get comfortable with fear and working with fear. And the same is true with anxiety. Anxiety is a type of fear. It's dealing more with worrying about what's going to happen in the future, and rather than fearing something that's happening, which is a threat right now. And some ways to work with this anxiety is mindfulness practices, mindfulness breathing. Just whenever you're feeling anxious about something, just stop for a second and few deep exhalations. Mindfulness breathing. There are other mindfulness practices which are very helpful, which are proven through scientific methods, which are evidence-based, which can help you calm anxiety. Taking a walk outside in any lung space or any green space in a park as much as possible, or perhaps on the terrace. So taking a walk outside and learning to do it mindfully and while breathing. Taking a walk and listening to your iPod, or listening to blasting music or listening to something else is perhaps, or taking a phone call is not what I mean in terms of calming anxiety, right? So this has to be done without any electronic stimulation, but just breathing and perhaps focusing on the clouds, on the sky, on the greenery which is around you. This can be very calming. Another quick fix to help you quickly calm yourself is to have your most favorite upbeat song that really calms you, that really makes you happy, that really, puts a song in your heart. It just makes you feel very nice. Have this song ready and available, and anytime you're feeling anxious, just blast it for yourself. And again, this is actually a very easy way to meditate and mindfully listen to the song. Enjoy it, enjoy the beats, enjoy the lyrics, enjoy the tune, and this again will calm yourself. So these are some quick fixes to help us deal with some of the anxieties and fears that are there in our lives. But a longer term way is to build a supportive structure of friends and family that you can hang out with and who will support you through times that are difficult for you. So learn to spend time with others, learn to reach out to others, learn to ask for help when you need help, right? Many times we are not able to do this because we feel, oh my God, I must be able to deal with this alone. And perhaps that's a thought which is not helpful. So let's bring our conversation to a close. Now, if you're like me, learning to deal with fear and anxiety is a long-term journey for some fears and a lifelong journey for others. The challenge is to have a mix of ways to work with fears of different intensity and impact. And I have found that the biggest benefit, the biggest way in which has helped me deal with my own fears and anxiety is when I've worked with my own coach and my own counselor. So explore this option for yourself too. I wish you well and feel free to connect with me if you think I can support you in some way. Good luck.
And that's it for today. Thank you for listening. Please connect with us on coachtoolbox@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to follow, subscribe, and review this channel. Details of our ICF-approved coach training programs and our services as executive coaches and coaching supervisors are on www.globalcoachtrust.org. See you in our next session.